Yo, Nitin, what's up, man? Good to see you, my brother.
Yes, good to see you back here. A call after 1.5 years.
Yeah, a year and a half ago or something like that we talked, so I think it's time to have another one. You were still in Shanghai?
Yeah, still in Shanghai, and yeah, doing pretty good.
Cool. All right, man. Let's try and we talked about this. We could try have like a call like every year or something like that, just to keep up to what's
Yeah,
going on. So I guess in the
I
first,
know.
yeah. So let's just have a
Tracing our
conversation.
journey. Yeah,
Second, yeah, totally. I think it's interesting, like to document it or like to hear. So what have you been doing last year? Like, or did you have any like major stuff? Like, again, let's try and keep it like interesting for the people listening or watching. I'm thinking
yeah.
always like what's in it for them. So do you have any lessons to share, like the last year or 2 years or whatever, to
No,
help
I
you
think the
grow?
only lesson, I wouldn't say lesson, but obviously, I think the last time we spoke, which was a year and a half ago, I had just kind of separated, like the physical separation had just happened.
Yeah,
And back then I was going through a lot of different emotions and guilt and,
yeah.
sadness and kind of relief and whatnot.
Hmm.
And I think a lot has happened since then, like a lot.
Yeah,
Like it's almost like stuff that movies are made of.
cool.
So there's been like extreme highs, a few little lows. And I think the biggest thing that has come out of everything is that I like with every passing day, it has only made me like realize and believe further and further that whatever I did was the right thing. Like
Cool.
talking about the separation, and I think a few different things have happened that only further reinforced what I did. So I think
Right.
it kind of just makes me feel a lot more confident about my decision making. Like when you have that impulse, when you
Yeah.
feel something and you want to do it and you kind of
Yeah.
hesitate all the time, and then when you finally do it and you realize that what you did is the right thing, it
Yeah.
gives you that kind of confidence. So I think that is really a good thing. And I think the other thing I've also realized is that a lot has happened, but I
Yeah.
think everything that has happened should have happened, and it's good that it's happened
Right.
because that's
Doesn't
what
always work out.
that's the reason why I am here where I am today, and I feel great, and I feel like I'm in the best phase of my life, and I feel the best
Awesome.
version of myself.
Awesome.
So that's great. Yeah.
Dude, that's fantastic. That's I did like a video yesterday, like a rant, because I messed up, fucked up the timing. I thought we were gonna have a call yesterday, but it was today. So I figured I'm gonna do another one. So I did a video like talking about like the 10 biggest lessons of my life that I've had the last, yeah, well, through the whole life basically. But like I agree, like what you said, to be the better version of yourself. To like that's the life, right? It's things get. I feel as well. Things just get better and better. It provided that you understand what's going on and sort of grow with it.
And you believe in the process, and you believe in whatever
Yeah,
is happening, and you accept
100%.
whatever is happening, and
Yes.
you use it as an opportunity to get better. Like there is no growth without pain, right?
Yeah.
And there's so like when you go through difficult times, they polish you and make you better than
Yes.
when you're just simply going through good times. So what I've just learned is, cherish the good times, but even more cherish the bad times because they
Right.
truly shape you and make you who you are. Whether
Yes.
it's whether you're a better person or a worse person, everything depends in your attitude and how you deal with it.
Yes. Totally. I agree. It's like talking about that as well yesterday. I'm just like referencing this from what you're saying is that um, it's like you need the let's call it contrast, like the bad stuff, whatever, the challenges, to want to go somewhere else to make you grow. And
Yeah.
it's inevitable. You always go through this stuff. Always, like living a life. That's just like a that you go through stuff always, and it
Yeah.
makes you reach for something higher up. And if you can focus yourself into like the going to the higher place instead of lingering in the problem and constantly like being depressed,
Yeah.
after you've gotten to the higher level, you're like, oh wow, yeah. Then you see the beauty. Like if you focus on the solution, you never regret the problem. If you focus on the problem, you regret the problem. So it's about going
Yeah.
from the problem to the solution, which you obviously have now.
And the direction, right? The direction that you're moving
Yeah.
in, right? It's not
Yes.
where you are. It's not where you're going. And I think it's just the direction that you're moving. And as long as you trust the direction you're moving in, I think that's the important thing. I think
Yeah.
one of my
I
most
agree.
intense conversations last year was just a very nice conversation that I had with a Japanese guy in
Hmm.
close to San Francisco. He's a friend of my friend Andy. who's a writer of author of The Abundance of Less. And so I was in the US in Burning Man, right? I'd gone there for Burning Man, and right before Burning Man, I spent these 3 days. I spent these two nights, one night in this really small town, like about 2 hours away from San Francisco, called Ukiah. And these Japanese couple, they live there. They have a restaurant there. And at night, we were just smoking pot, and we were kind of, talking about life. And then we were talking about positive. I said positive learning, and he says, Nitin, why is positive so important? I mean, is it important actually? And then when he asked me that question, it suddenly kind of gave me a click, And and we realized that, and he also said that positive and negative is just the way we talk about it. But actually, these are all just parts of lives: good times, bad times, highs, lows, evil, good, bad, all these polarities. I think these are just things that we've been taught and kind of conditioned to think, but they're actually just all a part of life. And growth is important. Negative or positive doesn't really matter. They're all just part of each other. And we look at things as negative and we look at things as positive, but actually they're all just, things. They're all just situations.
Totally. It's like you put your human brain to things and you sort of interpret it and you make it something else than maybe it is, or what you need to do. You put labels.
And you're all just putting labels, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's what you mentioned, it's a relational. It's like, it's everything is relative. So you can't have like the night without the darkness without the light. If you feel terrible, you feel so because you know that you should feel much better. So everything is in relation to each other. So if you didn't have the lows, you wouldn't feel the highs. And if you have
totally.
And that's why if you come from a really shitty position, if you don't eat for a week and you have a sandwich, you're like, it feels so good.
Exactly.
But if you eat every day, you're just like, everything's relational. So totally. That's great, man.
Yeah.
Keep having these wonderful insights and epiphanies.
But how are you doing in these really challenging times in Europe? With amidst the coronavirus and stuff like that.
It's like most of the chat groups I'm in, everyone is talking about this virus all the time, and I don't really like it's again, I talked about this yesterday as well in the video. It's about conditional and unconditional. It's like if you like the weather is nice, you feel great. If a person treats you nice, you feel good. If shit happens to you, you feel bad. It's like very conditional, and it is what it is. So it's like you can't control conditions, but you can control how you react to them. Everything is in your mind. So the question is like, how do I choose to react to this thing? It is what it is. So I don't care. Like I'm doing home office. In terms of I understand for some people it sucks if they lose their job and stuff. But my job is, I just need a computer. So nothing has changed. I just it's boring to have to stay home. Like in France, they did restrictions. I love to exercise and run. I live next to this beautiful park, and I can't go there. It's closed, so that sucks. It's like one of the best springs ever in Paris, and we're all stuck inside. But it's okay, it's cool. Like I use this time to meditate a lot, to go inside myself, to learn a lot. Like I read so much now, it's like ridiculous. I work a lot, I do that anyway. I'm happy, like almost like the week is more interesting than the weekend, because the weekend's like I have too much time, and I can go out. So it's like, but it's okay. It's not a problem, It's just like whatever, I don't care, like whatever.
It's great to hear that. Yeah, I mean, it's great to hear how you're dealing with it, because that's exactly how I feel as well. Like on one hand, yes, I really empathize and I really feel sorry for all the people who are going through all these hardships, people who have lost jobs, people who have lost family members and friends, and people who are not able to deal with the emotional stress that has come with this entire thing. So I really feel bad for people, and I empathize with them. But honestly, for me, it has been one of the best things in recent times. Just from the fact that I work a lot, and I've always been very, very busy, and it's like just life just goes on so fast in the city. And I think almost for the first time in 9 or 10 years, exactly. For the first time in 9 or 10 years living in Shanghai, I've been able to in some way enjoy the city and the slow pace of life here, and really take a lot of time to read, to meditate, to do my work, finish my long pending work. I have a beautiful kind of house, in the middle of trees and nature, and it's just very, very relaxing and satisfying. So I actually feel like this has been a great time for me personally. And I've used to just to cook a lot, read a lot, and just do simple things. So I
Awesome.
think, and in these 3 months, there's not been a single minute where I felt bored or where I felt
Really?
like I have much time. Not even a single minute.
Wow.
So I think for me, it's just been incredible. And of course, now at Shanghai, things have opened up. So
Right.
I started going to the gym and the yoga for the last 2 weeks.
Cool.
Started, like doing my outdoor stuff, going to the office. So things are getting back to normal now.
Yeah.
And so now that things are getting back to normal, I'm like, shit, okay, I need to kind of speed up
Yeah.
and adjust to the pace of life in Shanghai again.
All
But so
right.
far, I feel like I'm doing pretty good. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, cool, man. That's great to hear. I mean, yeah, again, it is what it is. So you can choose. It's choice. Like it's always
Yeah.
a choice. Like
It's choice.
some people have the tendency to blame everyone else, like the blame game, like the victim thing, like, oh my God, it's his fault, this, that, everything is wrong in society. And you read the mainstream media and you get sucked into this stuff, or you
Yeah,
just
and
like take
that's the other
control and say,
problem, right?
okay, fuck it, screw it. Yeah.
The
Why
media
can't,
has like magnified so many things, and people are
yeah,
consuming so much of news,
yeah,
and it's really, really messing up with their mind and just the
totally,
way they deal with things.
totally. So what you said, meditate, go inside, don't look for conditions or outside, like go inside, and then you'll find the answers. I think like everything is like connect to your higher self, to whatever, and
But I think the other thing also is that I
mm,
think a lot of us, we live in this fake, we live and we kind of just think, we just have this fake notion or false notion that everything is going to be great forever, everything is going to be growing forever, economies, companies, they're going to be growing forever, there'll always be money, there'll always be more income.
yeah,
And people don't remember that at the end of it, we're living in a finite planet with finite resources.
hmm,
As long as resources are finite, how can growth be infinite, right? I mean,
yeah,
there will be market corrections, there will be recessions, there will be downtimes, there
yeah,
will be, unforeseen circumstances like this. So
yeah,
what you can really do is just be prepared to the best you can, especially if you have that opportunity, if you have that
totally,
access, you can be prepared to the best that is possible. Be prepared financially, be
yeah,
prepared emotionally, be prepared spiritually, be prepared in your relationship with your family and friends.
totally,
And I think the best thing is, to be prepared to some extent.
hmm,
And as long as you can be emotionally prepared, I think a lot of other things can be taken care of. But I think
yeah.
that's one thing people have not kind of really got a hang of.
Yeah, sure. I agree. It's like a test. It's like this is like a stress test for
Yeah,
society. I mean, you know, like the whole structure of society is pretty like old. Like the whole hierarchy. Like this we have this pyramid structure with a alpha male monkey on top, and then
yeah,
it goes down. This is like it's like House of Representatives. This was made from really old when people had to actually do actual work and be on the farm, and they couldn't go to Washington or wherever the capital was. So they sent
yeah,
representatives to represent them. But now we
yeah,
have the internet, so we don't need it. So it's so antiquated, like the old power structures, the financial system. That's I've been doing in crypto Bitcoin for I don't know 4 or 5 years now, and this it's a lot of things are changing. The spiritual awakening, it's so much happening. And like the old male lion does not go willingly. Like
yeah.
power is like to the people on top, it's like so seductive that they will not give it up willingly.
It's so addictive, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. So but so it's all good. It's like, yeah, and the changes are never, it's like, what do you, like you say, you have to break some eggs to make an omelet. That's a stupid thing to say, maybe, but it's how it is. Like French Revolution. Shit doesn't go like the old king. They put his head on the stake, or on the, they had to cut his head off, to change shit. It had to get really bad. But then, or like the Second World War, the First World War. After those things, then you had the social reforms. You had the various people movements. Um, Stuff like civil liberties, civil rights. These things come after crazy shit,
yeah,
and also these cycles you talk about. I was watching this really cool video by Ray Dalio. He's like a very famous economist.
yeah,
He
yeah,
made like a half an
yeah,
hour video called "How the Economic Machine Works," It basically
Mm-hmm.
explains how the economy works, like super simple, very great animations. And it talks about like the debt cycle, how money is made, these cycles. You have the small cycles, you have the large cycles. This is like, yeah, this is just another cycle. We're coming to an end now. So this is just how it always is. Every
Yeah.
100 years, whatever, you have this shit. And now it comes. Yeah,
Yep.
you have the corona thing as
Yep.
well, which is like, which where you have like a supply shock and a demand shock, which you rarely have. Usually,
Yep.
even in the war, people go to work, they make shit, but now people don't even make shit. So you have, in addition to people not buying shit, they're not making shit. So you have both. So it's a big one, but
And if you
yeah,
and if you, I don't know if you've read all those news, but all around the world, I mean, they are just talking about such an incredible environmental kind of change, right? The
yeah,
environment has been so beautiful all around. Like just today, I was reading an article which said that for the first time in 30 years, the Himalayas in India were visible from a province which is like 1,500 kilometers away.
yeah.
For the first time in 30 years, the Himalayas were visible just by
Wow.
plain eye because the pollution has cleared up because there's no manufacturing, there is no vehicles and traffic on the roads. And for the first time in 30 years, you could see the
Yeah.
Himalayas.
Wow. That's how it should be. Like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, you're working in, green technology and things, so you're on the pulse of what's going on there.
But
Um,
also a lot from the health and well-being side, right? I mean, I
yeah,
was reading about how Spain is launching a universal basic income for its kind of for its citizens. How New Zealand is going to be investing a lot more money in citizens' health and wellness. How
yeah,
UK
yeah,
is going to be doing more on wellness.
totally.
What the virus situation has also shown is
Yeah,
that the rich and the poor are equally vulnerable.
yeah,
I think the rich have more
totally.
opportunities to kind of get better because they have access to medical facilities and the poor don't have.
Hmm.
So generally, the poor are like, ultimately they're affected much better. But
Yeah,
initially, they both have equal chance to get affected or not by it. So I
yeah,
mean, I think that it's a very big equalizer in some
yeah,
way. And I think a lot of people are being forced to rethink the way they live their life, they do their work, they run their countries, they spend their money. A lot of things are being rethought about from people. So that's a good thing.
yeah, totally. And and the thing is also now we're in the middle of it, so it's like everything is like the only thing you hear is about this stuff. The people, they have like two things. So one, people will never do anything until you have to, like until a
Yeah,
fucking asteroid hits. We're not going to start,
yeah, yeah,
spend more money on research,
yeah.
and also they forget very fast. So once the shit is over, like
Then
they'll
there will
be
be a
like,
big,
oh
big
yeah,
bunch
that
of
thing, oh,
people
this
who will not
virus,
even
like
remember this. Yeah,
totally. But
yeah.
but but
They'll get back to.
eventually, but I think something. I mean, a lot of stuff is going on now. This is just like it just sort of exposes a lot of things in the system. So
Yeah,
I think it's all good. If you look at life on planet Earth, if you go back 100 years, 200 years, 300 years, like yeah, a lot of people. There's much more contrast. There's much bigger gap between rich and poor. But in general, people, they live longer. They have access to information. Like the trajectory is like really good. I think in general, like most people, they're like they have
and people have access to more information now,
yeah,
and they have access to more tools. They have access to a lot of things now.
yeah, yeah,
I mean, of course, I mean, it's really sad that a lot of people are going to be out of jobs now. In fact, in some way, I'm not being paid by my other company as well because we're going through a bit of a financial issues as well because of the
okay,
same the thing.
yeah,
But I'm somewhere I have some faith in the fact that I will be able to get past it. I
right,
have
right,
some savings. It'll help me get past a certain number of months, and then something else will come up by then. I have confidence in my abilities.
yeah,
So I
yeah.
think having that confidence in your abilities and having a certain kind of being prepared for the worst is also
Hmm.
important.
So are you gonna sell your Bitcoin?
I don't have one. I wish I
Oh
had got it
shit,
when you
you
told me
don't
like
have
5 months
Bitcoin.
ago.
Listen,
No,
what are you talking about? Man, that's
I
what I'm
should
gonna
have
make.
got one.
Let's I'm
Yeah.
gonna make another video on this shit. I'm gonna make like a Bitcoin video. Already did one,
Uh,
but it's very, very relevant now for this
uh,
recession because the money
uh,
people, the governments are printing like record money. They're printing so much money. They're
really?
giving away. Yeah, the U.S. government. Like so, no one's working. Like everything is shut down. The travel industry, the airlines, like the cruise industry, the transportation industry, they're all in
Yeah.
major fucking shit because number
Yeah.
one, no one's buying. Number two, no
Right.
one's producing. Okay, so it's like really, really bad. So what are they going to do? How are they going to pay their workers? They need money.
Right.
So what are they going to do? The government. So every like major industry, they're going to the government now saying, hey, if you don't
Need
fucking
money.
pay us money, we're going to go out of business. We're going to have to fire all our people.
Yeah.
The government's like, fuck, okay. So the US government, that's what they're doing. They made a stimulus package, 2 trillion, but it'll go much higher. And that means, and what they do, they borrow money from the Federal Reserve, which creates money, and they just like fucking print that shit. And that means, and this is all this video from Ray Dalio, that you might see a scenario where you're gonna go into hyperinflation, which means the currency is worthless because it's supply and demand. If you have too much supply, it's worth nothing. So it's like a very, if we go into hyperinflation, this happened in Europe, like in the 1920s and 30s in Germany, the Weimar Republic, and that's when like you have right-wing people coming into power. People are just not working; they're just getting desperate. So it's a very fine line now, and this is why they started with Bitcoin. This is why Bitcoin makes sense, because Bitcoin is you can't print Bitcoin; it's a limited supply. And actually, the supply is getting cut every 4 years. So in May, so in like literally 1 month, the new issuance of Bitcoin is going down. So it's like sound money. It's kind of like gold. And
what's it right now? $5,000, $7,000?
It's around $6,000-7,000 now. Yeah, and I think it'll go to 100,000, between 100,000 and
what?
500,000. Yeah, within 2 years it will. Yeah, it will.
So I should buy one now anyway.
Yeah, but the thing is, it's very risky. It's extremely volatile, but it's volatile to the upside. But and the thing is, it's an experiment. It's only 10 years old. So gold has thousands and thousands of years of history. It's a safe haven. Like people buy gold when in times of trouble, because gold always has value. And Bitcoin is kind of similar, but it's only 10 years old. And if there's issues, it could go to zero. But likely, it's also something called asymmetric risk return. That means the upside is like 100x, and the downside is like, so let's say you buy a Bitcoin, you spend $6,000. Worst case scenario, worst was worse, it goes to zero. You lose 6,000. Okay, that's the downside. Upside, it goes to 1 million or maybe 10 million per Bitcoin. I think it'll go to 10 million at some point. So
enticing me to buy one.
It sounds insane, I know. But so the upside is it goes to let's say 10 million. So that means you earn 9.99 whatever, deduct 5,000.
But who's going to give you that? Who's going to give that money? I mean, who has that money to pay that money for that Bitcoin value?
Yeah. So Bitcoin is scarce. It's like gold. So it's just supply and demand. It's like how many people want to buy it and how many people want to sell it. And it's also utility. So Bitcoin has properties, characteristics that no other money has. You can do stuff with Bitcoin you can't do with anything else. It's a new type of technology that enables people to do shit nothing else can do. So it has utility. So people, oh shit, I can do this with Bitcoin. Let me buy some Bitcoins because I need to use it for these things. So and it gains utility because it's programmable. So Bitcoin 10 years ago is vastly different from today. So number one, it gets better, just like your fucking iPhone. Okay, iPhone is like, your iPhone today is much better than the iPhone 10 years ago. Bitcoin today is much better than 10 years ago. What do you think Bitcoin is going to be in 10 years? It's a beast. It's a fucking beast. And in addition, it has the sound money properties, which is like, I don't want to go through the whole list, but it's a better form of money. And it's money by the people. It's not the current system. Like, this is like 2 hours.
But that's why the governments are going to try to destabilize it, right?
Yes,
as far as possible.
They will. And the people who created Bitcoin, they knew this. It's like game theoretical. It's like, if they do this, we have to do this. It's like adversarial thinking. The system of Bitcoin is like insane. And I don't think anyone knows how to stop this fucking thing. Governments can't take it down. They'll try because Bitcoin is gunning for the creation of money, which is like the fucking holy grail of power. That's how you get power. Money. They fucking create money because money is energy. It's like it's power. Money is power.
Okay, you convinced me.
Anyway,
I'll buy one.
yeah. Anyway, that's a fucking rant. I'll do a separate video. I'm not saying you should buy one, but you probably should buy one. Like a half. You can buy less than a Bitcoin. You can buy like fucking 0.1.
All right, I'll start thinking about it now. I'll start accumulating my cash.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's the thing. That's a Bitcoin rant in terms of the recession. So what else? What's going on? What else? So you went to Burning Man. How was that? Like, what did you learn from that?
Oh, incredible. You know, like, I mean, I was there for 7 days, 8 days. I was in US for 3 weeks, my first trip there. And I think everything from start to end was just like perfect. It couldn't have been better.
Cool.
And even just the 7, 8 days of Burning Man was just absolutely incredible. Like, there were so many things to do and just not enough time. And it's almost like you cannot even plan for, because there's so much stuff happening. You cannot even plan stuff because everything is so, so random. And the experience is really about being in the moment, being in the present, and being in where you are at that point of time. Because right next door, there might be the most incredible things happening there while you were on your way to go somewhere else, you know. So you really have to trust that moment and that experience rather than trust what you have planned for. Right? Because we say, right, life is what happens when you're too busy making other plans. I think Burning Man is about the now and living it in that moment. And of course, I mean, I've had some amazing experiences. I remember there was one particular night, I think at 4 or 5 in the morning, after listening to the music at one of these. And of course, they have the best, I mean, just incredible music. I mean, I've never seen that level, that quality, of music anywhere in my life before.
Like live music, you mean, or performances?
Live music, like like DJs, you know, a lot of just like DJ stations and stuff like that. Like, I don't know if you've heard of Monolink, but he's become one of my favorite guys after Burning Man. But Monolink, really good techno trance music.
Write it down.
Yeah.
I'll check it out later.
Monolink, really good. He's German. But just amazing movies. Huh? Yeah. But very different DJ because he plays live music while DJing. So he plays a guitar and sings while DJing. Awesome. So just very unique. So there was one particular evening when I was just like going back to my camp after a musical night. I was really tired, 4 or 5 in the morning, biking back, having a hard time biking back because the roads are so uneven and dusty. And suddenly I smell a little bit of warmth in the air. I was hungry and I suddenly smell this warmth in the air. And I suddenly look on my left and there is this midnight miso soup camp where they serve like miso soup every day from midnight until 6 in the morning. And I park my bike there, I go in, I sit, and I have the most delicious miso soup and sake there with some really chill Japanese American fusion music and some really nice conversations with the bartenders. So just this, in another place they have midnight poutine, in another place they have grilled cheese sandwiches, mac and cheese. In the middle of nowhere, just at the time when you want it, just things appear near you, you know. And of course, one of my favorite parts of Burning Man was just this musical experience that I had, at the Burning Man temple. I was tripping that night. It was really amazing trip. And like I listened to this most beautiful piano music ever, and like after the guys, this guy was just playing piano nonstop for hours together. And I kind of just sat down and I closed my eyes and I really went deep into my emotions, which I had probably not done for a long time. And that of just reconnecting with my emotions kind of really got me in a way kind of to heal myself. So it was really intense. And after that, I went and spoke to the musician, like the pianist. I told him I loved his music. It was incredible. And after I came back to Shanghai, I actually got back in touch with him and his team. And we actually agreed to bring him to China this year to play his music. Because his kind of music is just experiential music. So he does not play music in loudspeakers and so on and so forth. He plays music only people listen to headphones in a natural setting. It might be, the forest or the beach or something else. And he's done something in a swimming pool area and so on and so forth. So his goal really is to connect people to their environments through music. Wow. And so I was Murray Hidari, Murray.
Yeah.
Hidary. So you can get all these things on Spotify. He's amazing. Cool. And so, we were in touch with his team, and then he was going to be coming to Shanghai now this April. Awesome. But of course, because of the virus, we had to cancel everything. But we're still in touch, and sooner or later, when things get back to normal, we want to make it happen again.
Dude,
But
awesome.
again, very incredible music, amazing guy.
Hmm?
And I just had an amazing, amazing time there. I mean,
Can you imagine?
for a first time, it couldn't have been better. Yeah.
Wow. So what do you think's going on when you're tripping? What do you think's behind there? Are you do you have any
Uh,
theories of that? Have you thought about that? Or is it more like, yeah, you feel good, you don't care, you don't go into the
Also,
spiritual
I
aspect of it?
think one thing is that I think you experience everything a lot more intensely. You know,
Yeah.
like for example, I was sitting there watching the man burning, right? And all around were thousands and thousands of art cars with these LED lights and music.
Yeah.
And I literally felt like I was in Disneyland as a 2 year or 3 year old kid with all these millions of lights all around me. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
in front there was someone doing a fire show, and the
Uh-huh.
fire seemed a lot more brighter and faster and slower. You know, when the man was burning, the ashes were
Yeah.
flying over me, and I felt like there were stars falling on me. It
Yeah.
was just really, and I think one of the best experiences I felt in my life. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
because
Totally.
I took the right quantity and I was not like kind of
Yeah.
trying to like go crazy. I really just wanted to experience it. And it just
Right.
made me really, really feel things a lot more intensely and a lot more powerfully. And
Yeah.
that's why I felt music a lot more powerfully. That's why I saw these visuals and this like the sights so much
Hmm.
powerfully. It gave me a kind of confidence. It really made me, deep dive into my emotions. And,
Right.
with all these things that have been happening in my life, I've
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
really openly kind of displayed it. I think for the first time in a long time, I was actually crying and talking to my past and trying
Uh,
to kind of get away, from, like, or just kind of get over them. So
yeah.
it
Yeah.
was really powerful, and I'm so glad I did it.
I can imagine. Like, was that the first time you did it, or
Sorry.
was that the first time you did it?
Yeah, I would say the first time. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Wow. I agree, man. It's like, I never did mushrooms. I'd like to do that, but I did ayahuasca, and let's not go into that now. But it's like, yeah, it's like,
So this was LS. So I did the LS thing. Yeah.
ah, oh, interesting, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I mean, that's super powerful. I remember, the drug thing. It's like, I did ayahuasca, and I met
Yeah.
another dude. We were like in this hippie camp in Spain in the mountains. Like super spiritual, and it was awesome, and super hippie. Everything volunteer, in the 60s. And and the guy, he had never done any drugs, I think, before, and we did ayahuasca together, and it was very deep. Him and me, we connected well. We sat next to each other as we were tripping, and we slept in the same
Uh-huh.
tent. And so we kept in contact afterwards. And he
Mhm.
did LSD. I think he did everything, LSD, mushrooms, everything. And he said, like, he like, because I was like, everyone has different trips. Every time you do a trip is different, so you can't like box
Yeah.
down or
Yeah.
label a trip, or even
Yeah.
drugs, I think. But
Yeah.
he said LSD was like I thought I had insights in ayahuasca, and I did like crazy insights, but there's also
Uh-huh.
much more. Like I thought, like, I figured everything out. But then he talked about LSD, like how how he could like see and feel vibrations and feel the moods of people, and just like he was walking in the supermarket, he saw the meat section, it was like so depressing, and like, and then he did mushrooms, a completely different experience. Like it's so like rich and deep, and it's like the nature of reality is like it has so many dimension layers, like, woo, crazy. So man, like once you, if you haven't done anything, you're like, yeah, it's just like to be just
I, I
like,
I think as an occasional thing, once in a while thing, I would definitely recommend it. Have you
yeah,
read this new book by Michael Pollan? I think it's like 3 years old now, where he's
yeah.
talking about psychedelics and stuff like that.
I haven't read
Yeah,
it, but
but he talks a lot
I've
about
seen
that.
a bunch of interviews
Yeah.
with him. Yeah, it's very interesting. I was listening to a bunch of interviews with him before I decided to do it. I'm like, well, he kind of inspired me in a way. Like I knew a lot about that stuff before, but he was like, okay, he
Yeah.
did it. Okay, I need to do this too. Like, you know,
But you did ayahuasca, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. But before I did it, I was listening to his
Okay.
interviews. I mean, I've been knowing about this stuff for years. But he kind of like, he's like, yeah, he kind of like, yeah, it was
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
interesting because he does it from a scientific point of view. And people can't just
Hmm.
like write him off as some crazy hippie. He's actually, he's
Yeah.
science based. So the people that want to like, uh, you know, laugh about drugs, they can't, because he's sort of, he presents a very unique thing that even scientists can't like deny. So, but I think it's interesting. There's a lot of research going on now in the U.S. You know, it was illegal to do research on this. I think from the 30s it was allowed illegal, but now they're doing it again. Tons of research.
Okay.
You know? And the Poland talks about the. Did you read the book?
No, I haven't.
He talks a lot about like how it helps. It's like PTSD soldiers. Very difficult to help them. You know, even psychology for years and years and years. It's super expensive. It doesn't fucking help. They give them 10 different painkillers and happy drugs.
This is after the war when they come back and they're trying to live a normal life.
Yeah, and then this fucking thing has like 100x better success rate, and it's just like one fucking session.
Yeah.
You know, and now they're starting to see like, wow, like, this shit is deep. You know, like there's reasons why this goes back to the Egyptians and I think this is the core of every major religion, potentially. You know, like talk about the burning bush. I mean, do this shit. I mean, like you read the Bible, and you just read the Bible, or you do like a mushroom LSD trip or ayahuasca session, and tell me what's more powerful, like because you're there, you see shit. But anyway, longer discussion. But very interesting.
Yeah, and how about your food and diet and everything? Are you cooking a lot, or what are you doing?
Yeah, I cook every day. I try to be more healthy. My brother, he's doing like, I read a lot. I listen a lot to, but you know, life extension things. A lot of technology these days. You know, like how to hack yourself. You know, biohacking. It's been around for a long time. But the guy David Sinclair, he was on the Joe Rogan podcast. He talked a lot about things you can do to sort of improve your life. And so I'm looking into basically vegan. I'm considering I did paleo for a while. I didn't really like that. Vegan and intermittent fasting. And there's some drugs you can take like that are harmless, that are like really beneficial for you. So I'm doing some of the stuff from exercise and stuff like that, meditation. I think it's like the placebo effect is real, you know. So like training of mind is very important. How are you? You're a vegetarian, right?
Cooking. So I've been doing a lot of plant-based, whole food, plant-based, vegan diet last 2-3 months. It's been really good. I always felt good anyway, but I think even with the plant-based thing, it's pretty good. It's been very. I cook a lot. It's really enjoyable. I keep experimenting with new stuff. Like yesterday, I had friends over for dinner, and I made vegan keto food. You know. So that was a challenge, but it was good fun. You know. Yeah.
How the fuck is that possible? You just avocados? Here's a bunch of
avocados. Lots of vegetables, lentils, cauliflower, ratatouille, and those kind of things. So I made cauliflower rice. Yeah, so instead of making the regular rice, I made cauliflower rice, right? And then I made the Indian lentils in spinach, and then I made a ratatouille with lots of different vegetables. So it was pretty good.
Wow. I challenge you to make a carnivore vegan dish for me.
What?
Carnivore vegan.
A vegan carnivore. Okay,
vegan
I'll do that next time.
Can you do that?
Okay, I'll do that for you next time.
We have to go like, dude, did you try the vegan burgers? They have two ones. They have the Impossible burger.
The Impossible ones. Yeah, I've tried the Impossible one. The Impossible meat.
What's the other one?
And the other one is Just Foods is the Impossible burger, and I don't remember the other one.
I had the other one. I forgot now. It's really fucking good. Like
they're good. I agree, they're really good,
dude. I was like, what the hell? I was in Barcelona meeting, and in a vegan restaurant. I was with some vegans, vegetarians, and they're like, "How do you have to try this burger? Beyond Burger is what it's called. You have to try the Beyond Burger." I'm like, "Oh fuck!" Like, okay, let me try it, because the waitress, she was like, "Yo, you have to do this." I'm like, "Okay, let's do it." And I had one. It was like, it's incredible. Like I was really good. 95% there. Afterwards, I didn't feel like heavy like a burger. You know, I was like, "Nah, I could eat another one."
Yeah. No, I agree.
And then I made the mistake of buying a vegan burger here in France in Franprix, but it was like terrible. It was like made of fucking.
Tonight, actually, someone is sending me a vegan pizza, a vegan pork pizza.
Yo, I need the Beyond stuff. You know what I mean? I need the tech shit, like the science meat stuff.
Yeah, no, it's good. I mean, I think for those who find it hard to get off meat, I think they are good. I think
Yeah.
for me, who is already vegetarian, I think it's,
Totally.
I make a lot of other stuff, so it's not that hard for me.
You're a good chef. You're a good chef.
I really enjoy cooking, so that's
Yeah, I
I
know
mean,
you do.
I've been doing a lot of that now, especially last 2 months things were closed. I mean, just cooking so much. Oh, I've cooked so much.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember you cooked for me in Shanghai when we lived together.
Yeah.
When I just fucking came to Shanghai.
And that was
No
10
way
years ago.
around.
I'm so much better now than 10 years ago.
Can imagine. Imagine if you were worse. Like, nah, it's just going downhill. I used to be really good, but now I was like, oh, everything's getting better.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
By the way, my laptop is going to crash in like maybe 5 to 8 minutes.
Dude, let's cut it down. We talked for 40 minutes. I think it's enough. Like, people are just
Yeah.
fuck. Like, an hour is too much. Like, yo, keep it in sync.
This is good. I mean, I think, like I said, we should keep it going every couple of times a year. Track our progress, track our journey.
Totally.
And of course, it gives us the figures of Bitcoin as well.
Yo.
So we know that as of now, Bitcoin is at $6,000, and probably a year and a half when we spoke, it was at maybe 8. And maybe the next time we speak, it better be at like 20. So I'll try to buy something in the next couple of weeks.
100,000 in a year.
In 6 months' time?
No, not in 6 months. This is a longer discussion, but halvening, it's a huge event, and Bitcoin happens in May. 6 months to a year after the halvening, historically, it will do like 10 to 20x. So and there are various models, mathematical, statistical models that like can predict extremely accurate the price.
Really?
A lot of these fucking things, they say Bitcoin is going to go to 100,000. 6 months to a year after May. So end of this year, shit's gonna get crazy. Shit's gonna get fucking crazy. Next year.
Okay, so I'm gonna book one with you now. Help me get one.
Bitcoin is gonna be fucking all over the news.
Okay. Okay, so you have to help me get one. I'll talk to you about that offline. But there's this new app that's come up that I wanted to tell you about. It's an app called Seeds. It's also about a virtual. I think you should check out the app and everything else. You will understand it a lot better than me. It's an app called Seeds, which is about virtual currency and stuff like that. It's too complicated for me to understand. But the app is called Seeds. You see?
Okay. Okay. Maybe it's something where you can like. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. There's an altcoin. Okay, I got it. Cool. Yeah, I'll check it out.
Yeah. I'll send you this on WeChat.
Do that.
Yeah.
Nitin, it was fucking awesome. Great to see you, man.
Yeah, as always.
Awesome, dude. Thank you so much. Let's keep it, like you said, every 6 months, whatever. I'll play the outro video now, so we'll chat after. But thanks, my friend. Stay safe. Anything else?
No, everything is good.
People follow you. Are you on
Stay
Twitter?
safe back in Europe. No, I'm on Instagram. I've been doing a lot of Instagram posts recently.
Yeah, because you do photos too.
Yeah, so photographs. Yeah, exactly. So I keep doing my photography.
Awesome. All right, man. Speak soon.
I'll talk to you soon.
Have a good day.
Yeah.
Ciao.
You too. Bye. And take care during these difficult times.